Let's jump into marketing strategies for live events. There are a lot of things that you can do to fill live events. I'm just going to show you my go-tos of what I do pretty much anytime I'm having a live event. The number one that I do to help fill my events is I do joint venture partners. So, for example, I'm working on an event right now that will be held live in Salt Lake City. It's a 2-day event. And first thing on my list is getting amazing joint venture partners. So I've partnered up with Allison Bird. I've also partnered up with Shay Brown and Trevor Otts. And I've partnered up with Noah St. John. And I'm finding other partners as well. So people who have big lists, and part of their requirement for being there is they're going to promote the event to their lists. And within that, so you can have joint venture partners who are actually speaking. You can also have panels. I love panels. Panel. I don't know how to spell panel. There we go. That's my best guess. So panel discussions are you can get 5 people, 5 to 10. I've seen them as large as 10. I think 10 is too big because not everyone gets a chance to speak, but easily 5 to 8 people on a panel. So that means you get them all on stage at the same time and you have an interactive discussion where you ask a question and everyone gets to give their 2 cents. And then again, you ask your panelists to speak for you. Or to promote for you. Other people that you can have as a joint venture, you can have vendors. So whenever I do an event where I have vendors, I ask my vendors to promote as well. It's part of their vendor agreement is that they're going to email their list. They're going to promote with me, and I always give specific instructions for how and when. I tell them, okay, this is what we're promoting today, and then we all promote together. Now, vendors, they're a vendor. Let me just start basic. A vendor is somebody who pays to have a spot at your event where they can then sell and lead generate. Now, a vendor, if they don't not promote, they've already paid me to be there, so I'm probably not going to fuss about it too much. But my speakers and my panelists, that's why I'm putting them on my stage, is for them to help promote, and in return they get to sell, and I give them a generous joint venture split. So a standard split, if somebody's speaking at your event, a standard split is 50-50. Because I ask my speakers to help in the promotion of the event, I actually give them a 60-40 split. So anything that they sell at my event where I've covered all the expenses of the event, the lighting, the sound, all of that, anything that they sell there, I let them keep 60%. And the reason I do 60 is because I know I'm asking them to partner with me in the promotion of it. So that would be examples of joint ventures. You could also have other companies or organizations who are on board with your event who are helping to promote it as well. When I did a celebration of real beauty, which was my large-scale community education events, we had a school who was just charter school, super excited about all that we were doing. They were like, we want our girls to be there. We think this is so important for all of them to understand and find their value. And they really helped us promote that event because they were just in harmony with the message of it. So a joint venture is just an organization or a group who has a strong following that they'll agree to partner with you. So the next one is speaking gigs with an offer. This is a great way as well. Go speak to groups. If you've got an event, go get on stage in front of groups of 15 to 5 million people and tell them, hey, I've got an event coming up and I'd love to have all of you join me for it. And then you can either do a paid offer or you can even do a free offer. But if you're doing a free offer, what I would recommend is that you actually assign a value to it. I have an event right now where I'm valuing the tickets and the experience at $497 each. That doesn't mean that's what I'm going to charge for it, but that's the value of it. And I promise you, it's going to be worth $497. So if I sell it for less, they're still going to feel like, wow, this was a super valuable event. So even if you're getting free tickets, I would assign it a value and say, and I've got some free tickets that I'm going to give away here today for anyone who texts this number or for anyone who leaves their business card in the drawing bowl, whatever it is that you want to do to capture those leads. But speaking is a great way to get out there in order to promote your event. The next is ambassadors. So ambassadors are people who they are everyday connectors. You know how you've all got that friend who she just knows how to put together a group of people. She puts together girls' night, and pretty soon everyone's involved and everyone's coming, and she's good at organizing people and getting people together. Everyday connectors, you can reach out to them and ask them to be ambassadors for your event. So what they're going to do is they're going to use their skills of being everyday connectors, and they're going to help you connect with more people. So they're going to promote your event for you. Maybe if you've got a businessy event, maybe they're going to take flyers to their meetup groups or their networking groups, or they're going to connect in with their team or their uplines team, or all of their friends in a Facebook group where they're a part of, and they're just going to invite people to come. And in return, they get incentives. They can be money, they can be free tickets. I have a friend who runs ambassador programs very heavily, and she pays them per person that they bring to the event. I've done free tickets. I've seen people do giveaways where they give away iPads and they give away all these great things for anybody who helps promote, and whoever gets the most people there gets entered into a drawing and such. So incentives are important for keeping your ambassadors motivated. Another thing that you can do to promote and market for your events is you can do Facebook ads. And Facebook ads are, again, if you're having them pay, your conversions are going to be more expensive than if it's free. It's easier to get people to opt into a free event than it is a paid one through a Facebook ad. And so you'll just have more people that opt in, which means your amount per conversion is lower than your amount per conversion if you have a paid event. But either way, Facebook ads are a great way to do that. Another thing that I like to do is I like to give free tickets to specific groups in exchange for promotions. So my event that I'm holding in March in Salt Lake City, I'm actually going to reach out to local Chamber of Commerces, and I'm going to offer them some free tickets that they can give away to their members in exchange for them letting members know that the event is happening. So that's a great thing to do. Social media, I always use social media, and I always use email marketing. And what I like to do is I like to connect those with my joint ventures, my ambassadors, and any other groups that I'm connecting with. So when I write email marketing for myself to send in my own list, I'm also using that same script and copy to give to my joint ventures and to give to my any other organizations that are going to promote for me. Same thing with social media posts. The posts that I create for myself, I use those with everyone else who's promoting. My goal with live events is I don't ever want to be the only one responsible for helping fill that room. To me, that's stressful. And so I'm not saying these are the only ways that you can market a live event, but they're good, and I know that they work, and this is how I do it, which is what I wanted to show you here, is how do I do this. Now, what I really want to point out is I do pretty much all of this for pretty much every single event. And so when we talk about marketing timelines, I spend more, live events are my longest timeline. So when we talk about mapping out, I do this, then I do this, then I do this, then I do this, and we map out the strategy. I have had live events that take me 6 months to produce. 6 months to produce. Those ones also had vendors, and so I had a lot of vendors to sell. We also had sponsorships, so I had a good part of that 6-month period was selling vendor booths and sponsorships. So they took me quite a lot of time to produce. If I were to produce those same events today with my team that I have today, we could do it faster. We could do it in less time. We could do it faster. That was improper grammar. But I don't like to do any events with less than 3 months to put this together. So let's kind of look at a sample timeline here. Let's say that you're going to do a 3-month event cycle. What would that actually look like? Well, number one thing that I'm going to do is 3 months out, I'm going to secure vendors. I'm going to secure speakers, joint ventures. I'm going to secure, and then the second thing that I'm going to do after I get my speakers and my joint ventures, the second thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to, and maybe this is like 2.5 months out, I'm going to secure my venue. I'm going to, which means you're going to have to pay a deposit at that point. So I'm going to secure my venue. I'm going to secure the affiliate or ambassadors. I'm like, what is that word? I'm also at this point, this is where I'm going to start selling vendor booths and sponsorship. Now, let me just say, I have had some events that I've produced where we needed to sell like 40 vendor booths, and we were looking to get like $30,000 of sponsorship. I'm not going to do that in a 3-week cycle or 3-month cycle. If I'm wanting to sell 40 vendor booths and I'm wanting to get $30,000 in sponsorship, I'm giving that 6 months at least, maybe longer. It might actually be a little bit longer than that, but I'm giving myself the time that it takes to really make that happen. Okay, so after I've got those things done, then the next thing that I'm going to do also during this time, the other thing that I would do at 3 months is I would also do speaking gigs. Because sometimes you book something and they say, oh yeah, we'd love to have you come to our group, here's our next opening. And so I would book the speaking gigs early. Now after I do that, the next thing that I'm going to be looking at is going to be registration materials. So registration, landing pages, I'm going to be creating, this is where I'm creating all my marketing materials. So copywriting, graphics, logos, signage, anything that I really need for just making it all come together. And then I'm going to give a 2-month window for promotion. So we'll do 2 months to event. We're going to be doing social media, emails. We're going to be doing any type of promotions we can, Facebook ads. And again, the more that the event costs, the more people have to plan for it. The longer the event is, the more people have to plan for it. So if I only want 25 people in a room, I could probably do that in like 3 weeks of promotion. But if I want 500 people or 5,000 people, it's going to take longer to fill that. So that's when a lot of that is going to be happening, is 2 months before. It does not mean, like let's say you do an annual event, it does not mean that you're not promoting it and filling it throughout the entire year. It means that you're heavily pushing the last 2 months until the event actually starts. And then once we get to about, I usually get the partners are really heavily involved 1 month before. Partners very heavily involved. And then about 2 weeks before, we are really heavy into the logistics. So if you look up here, 2.5 months before, that's where we secured venue and equipment. Let's put that in there as well. So venue and equipment we secured. So that, like if you needed any rentals, you need a lighting guy or a sound guy or anything like that, we're usually going to reserve those ahead of time. But there. But now we need to go back to and be really heavy into the logistics, double checking, making sure everything's right for the room. Do we have, we've already printed banners because, you know, it takes time. We put that up here. If you need banners or signage, let me just put this in here, just in case you were wondering what signage is. This would be banners. Banners are important for live events. And if we need those, we need to order those ahead of time. They don't deliver in 2 weeks. So that needs to happen ahead of time. But 2 weeks, you're really heavy into logistics, just coordinating everything, making sure everything's in its place. Everyone knows what they're supposed to be doing. Making sure that your copies are ready, making sure your PowerPoint is ready. So this is when you're just into the crafting of the experience, even things like music. Music is something sometimes you forget, but you need it to be there. So this could be music, it could be PowerPoint, it could be your handouts, it could be your printing needs, just any last minute detail stuff to make sure that it all comes together. So this is kind of the flow that I take, and I'll expand it or I'll contract it depending on what's my price point and how many people do I need to be there. If I either have a high number of people I want there or I have a high price point, I know I need longer than 3 months. If I have either a super low price point or I don't need very many people there, I know I might be able to contract it a little bit, but I'll be honest with you, I don't personally like running any live events with less than 3 months to prep for it. It feels very rushed to me and it feels stressful to me. So here's your marketing strategy and your timeline to help you really be able to create a successful, awesome, amazing, love it in your face live event. Okay, go ahead and after you do this, you can check in with your homework and get that taken care of, and then you can move on to the next video.